Debbie,
Hi,
thanks for
Heather.
taking the
Nice.
Hi.
Yeah,
It's
nice
so
to
nice to meet you. I'm gonna
thank
just throw
you.
it out there right now. I'm a Deb head, day one, always. You can see
Aw,
the OG copy of Electric Youth here with the bent edges and the liner notes all, crumpled. It's been
I
played.
love it. I
It's
love
been
it.
it's been played many, many times. I had
Oh,
hoped our paths would cross at some point. Your music had a real impact on me growing up. I was 12 when Out of the Blue came out, so middle school, and um, I had it like idolized Olivia Newton-John up to that point, and Madonna was like a whole other thing. But you came along, and I felt like you your message of that kids have real opinions, have real feelings, and that it was, okay to be yourself and express yourself in that way. I think was in those formative years for me helped me kind of find my sense of self and ground
wow.
myself.
Oh my God, that's such a beautiful way to put it. And when you were saying Olivia and Madonna, I am kind of weirdly like the missing link between those two women.
Yes, I think it was really the first time I was like, because you were responsible for your own music, right? So this is the first time I'm seeing this is someone that's relatively my age, putting pen to paper and, you know, from a fun perspective or from an introspective perspective, like it was all being put out there, and it wasn't, and I knew that you were responsible for it all. So it felt,
And I love that, and I'm still responsible for it all. I joke because, I I am hands-on in still, and it's not like I always say with people like, are you a control freak? No, I am wanting to be my most authentic self and to communicate with my audience on the most pure level. And that's still so important to me. And so like with this new album, the upcoming music, I mean, the back and forth I have with the mastering engineer, with the graphic design, with the every word and every font and every frequency and everything is my expression because the truth of the matter is it's music's all a matter of opinion anyway. It's not like there's a
sure,
right and a wrong way to EQ your vocal, but for my storytelling there is a right way. There's a way that I want to relay something.
sure.
So, I've always encouraged artists, like I've worked with a lot of young people, and I always just say, I'm not here to teach you or to mentor you. I'm here to encourage you to keep being authentic is all.
Yes.
Um, and to have enough of the musical and technical knowledge to be able to relay what you want so
Yeah.
that you can make it happen. But so I appreciate hearing that. That was so
Thank you.
eloquently put.
Oh, you're nice. Thank you. So I'm here in the South Jersey area, just outside of Atlantic City. Do you still have family in the South Jersey area, Cumberland
I
County?
do, Vineland. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So my late grandpa Albert was one of 13. The last name's Pastizzi,
Mm-hmm,
Pustizzi.
mm-hmm.
So I'm sure, and there were the Buffas. I mean, I could go on and on with all the
Yeah.
married names, but we used to go to
Yeah.
family reunions out that way, and there'd be like 500 family members.
Sure.
It's insane.
That's so cool. So I kind of can't wait to let all the South Jersey listeners, let all of our listeners, know what you've been up to and what you've got going on now. The last time you were in Atlantic City was the mixtape tour, which was, I get chills because I was with like all of my middle school and high school friends, and it was you, the
Ah,
New Kids, and Debbie and Salt and Pepper. It was just such a fun night, and that's like the duet with Joey McIntyre of New Kids on the Block for Lost in Your Eyes. And you've recorded a new version of that with him, which is I just adore. So was
thank
singing
you.
that together every night the part of your bond? I know on Instagram this week he called you his like pop soulmate.
I
Um,
know when he said that, I was like, that was just, yeah, the sweetest
so how
thing.
did you go into the recording of it with him and the arranging of the song this time around at 30 years later?
I mean, so first of all, taking you back, it was his idea to do it as a duet on the road. And to hear him say it now, he's like, yeah, I was like bold enough to ask you to share your biggest number one hit. The boldness panned out and paid off because look, it was so interesting being me in the 80s and releasing music because I was also a little girl fan. I mean, I had posters on my walls, and then I would meet those people, and they were peers, which was very confusing to me and
George
cool.
Michael, Billy Joel.
Yes. And of course, New Kids, I was fangirling over New Kids too. And so um, I really understood from the audience's perspective what that moment was going to be, although it exceeded everything I dreamt up. Every night, I'd be playing and look for almost 35 years. Well, at that point, at 33 years, I would play it and I'd go into the second verse to be playing it and have him walk out and sing that verse. And I always tell him he was born to sing this song. Like, other than me, he's the person that was born to sing this song. And to hear everyone scream and I understood people would say that it was their idol and their crush together.
Yeah. Yeah,
And that's so powerful.
It was definitely the people who had Bop and Big Bopper magazine. It was super fan service to all of us, like in the best way. And it's so funny because a lot of artists go back and they'll do re-recordings or remixes of songs with as a duet, and sometimes it just doesn't work. But you two, just your voice, the melodies, your harmonies just work so well together.
Thank you. Yeah, and then when it felt like it was time to record it, we did it obviously during the lockdown on opposite ends of the country, and he went in and recorded primarily at home, and I recorded at home, and we worked out some new, like he threw some new little riffs in there, which I just love. And my co-producer on it is a 19-year-old named Sean Thomas, who's produced like 80% of my new album.
Yeah.
And I gave him the reference of the JP Sachs, Julia Michaels, "If the world was ending, you come over, right?" I think that production, it's classy, it's modern, it's spacious, it's epic, but it's simple. It covers a lot of bases. I struggled with, do I do the pling, pling, pling intro again? And I was like, no, because again, you want to do a reimagining for who we all are now.
Right.
And so it just felt like the perfect blend of all of that. And it made the vocals really stand out. And he's singing better than ever. I can't wait to perform live with him.
Yeah, so that's coming up at the Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas, where you now primary residence in August and September. So you two have a little bit of a residency, and it's so great to be able to be playing to like full capacity shows again. I'm sure you're very excited too. What can you tell us about? Obviously, that show is going to be more than just one song. So can you tell us anything about what that residency is like? Evolving into?
It was really a limited engagement. It started out really as like 3 dates, and then the 3 sold out so fast. That day they were like, "Can we put?" Live Nation was like, "Can we put a 4th up?" I was like, "I'm free." and then they came back and they were like, "Let's do 4 more." I mean, so it's just kind of growing. Yeah. So we will open the show doing some duets, and we'll probably each be doing 2 20-minute sets. And in the middle, coming together again, and at the end, coming together again. So
fun.
We're still in the process of putting together what we're doing. We agree on some things. We agree to disagree on some things. We're just trying to figure out what works best for the vibe of the show. And we were on Entertainment Tonight the other night, and Fraser, who's my buddy, was throwing out suggestions. He threw out "You're the One That I Want" and "Islands in the Stream," both which were funny enough on my list too.
So that would be amazing. Yeah.
And we have a few other ideas up our sleeves. Yeah.
So there's new music on the way, more than just a new version of "Lost in Your Eyes." Yes. The Body Remembers. This is the first album of originals since, in like 20 years. It's coming out on August 20th. You've equated it a little bit to almost like an Electric Youth for where you are in your life now. So where are you in the process of recording it? And just as a fan, what can you tell us about the new songs?
Well, literally today is the day that it all went off to the CD plant, um, vinyl
Oh,
plant as
so
well.
it's done.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not, but I
Okay.
just did. You might have just gotten an exclusive, Heather.
Okay, thanks.
But yeah, so and yeah, so I am the eternal tweaker. I keep hearing things. I'm like, oh my God, I want to tweak that line, that note, that. And now I'm done because I have to be to make the deadlines. Yeah, so 15 new songs. And part of why I equate it to Electric Youth is because, Electric Youth, you had the song Electric Youth, which was very electronic dance music for the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you had Lost in Your Eyes, which is a piano ballad, and you had Shades of the Past, which is kind of a jazzy ballad. And
Yes.
you had, Love in Disguise, which is pop rock.
Right, right.
And in that same way, I am influenced by even more genres now. I mean, having Ashba playing guitar on this record, he played on like 4 or 5 songs. I have to count, go back and count. He plays Spanish guitar, he plays rock guitar. At one point, I feel like we're doing our Dirty Diana, like,
Mm-hmm.
riffing back and forth on a song called Freedom. And there's just, there's a lot of modern influences because I am a current music fan and I listen to sonically how things change because yes, like I always pay homage to my roots. I'm always going to sound like me. My melodies and hooks are always going to sound like me. There's one dance song that I say is like Dua Lipa meets Donna Summer. And, Dua Lipa pulled a lot from Donna Summer. But the way Dua Lipa delivers a vocal in a bit of a nonchalant, I care but I don't care kind of way,
Mm-hmm.
why wouldn't I want to be inspired by that and do my take on that? Because then you're reaching then I'm expanding what I do
Mm-hmm.
and I'm resonating in a way that yes, do I want to hit a younger audience as well? Absolutely. Do I want to alienate my core audience? Absolutely not. But I think I'm naturally a person who lives in all of these worlds. And so I wanted to make sure that the music was expressed in that way. It's very exciting. There's a lot of, you know, uh, the lyrical content is very depthful because I've been through a lot of life at this point. And then there are times where, much in the way that Shake Your Love threw it all away, and it's like, hey, let's dance and celebrate.
Right.
There's that also, and you heard that in Girls' Night Out. It's just,
Sure, sure.
but there's depth to that song too. It's interesting. The hook is fun and dancey, but there are a lot of women that maybe, in a stagnant place in their marriage and they want to spice things up and maybe going and reconnecting them with their girls and bringing that
Mm-hmm.
energy back home to their partner helps
Yep.
them do that. And so even within the celebratory dance songs, there are things, there are layers. And again, it was very important to me to just bring it all out and
Well,
pour it all
Debbie,
out there.
I think that's always been you, whether you're 18 or and making 50 look good on the cover of the new album, by the way.
Thank you. Thank
Um, I think back to how does an 18-year-old write Silence Speaks 1,000 Words when I'm now 45 and those words to me make more sense now than ever before. The not wanting to be stagnant in songs like Over the Wall or,
you.
tackling serious issues like When I Say No from like Body, Mind and Soul. Like you've
Mhm.
always been an advocate for inclusivity for people of all walks of life. And then for your own thought, I'm like, what kind I look back now and I'm like, what 18-year-old is writing a song called Silence Speaks 1,000 Words? And
You
you're
know
like,
what's
Jesus
so
is
you know
thick.
what's so interesting when you just brought up When I Say No. I didn't even think of this, but like there's a lot of parallels then and now too. Like I have a song on this album called Freedom.
Mm-hmm.
It was very much inspired by a young woman named Coco Berthman's story. She survived human trafficking. But again, like I've lived my own version of just feeling stuck in something, right? And then I'm in the business of being an
Mm-hmm.
empath and trying to channel everybody's experiences. And I took that song to the furthest extreme to make a point because there's a line about your freedom always being inside of you and always being available to you. no matter what situation you're in. Like the movie Shawshank Redemption. You're like, you know, the biggest prison you're in is in your own mind.
Right.
And so when I think of When I Say No and then, and I think of Freedom Now, I'm still singing about things I haven't completely experienced, oddly enough. But I still am projecting what would that be like? What would that feel like? And interestingly, similarly to what you just said, there are songs I wrote back then, even like Losing Myself.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what I was singing about then. And then, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I woke up and went, holy crap. Now
Yeah.
I know what it means. Now I
Yeah.
can deliver it in a new way. And so a lot of what I was doing back then was speculating, emulating, imagining. I mean, and
Yeah.
that's the beauty of being an artist. We all have this very rich fantasy life. And even going to the unpleasant sides of that fantasy and going, oh, what would it be? Foolish Beat. I hadn't been in love and lost love, and I have older sisters though, and I was able to, absorb and just channel other people's voices, and so I'm doing that a lot in this too. I'm speaking a lot from my own experience, but I'm also integrating, again, like a broader spectrum of experiences.
You're an observer by nature, and I think that's why I think through some of your songs, I've been able to make sense of some of the own things I go through in my life. So
that's amazing.
I just want to throw out again, we're all looking forward to a new full-length album, The Body Remembers, on August 20th. So we'll be counting the days till then. I hope everybody follows you on Instagram because it's just so freaking funny. I loved the video with you and your dad trying to sing Frank Sinatra on Father's Day.
Thank you.
The Electric Youth fashion show where you broke out all the tour outfits just down the street.
By the way, I had COVID during that video, and my lungs were so heavy that day. And I was like, I need to elevate my energy and my health and everybody else's health, and it's going to make me heal. It's going to make me heal. So I wore myself out a little doing that, but yet it helped me.
We loved it. As a fan and somebody who went on tour and watched the videos over and over again. Do you still know the Electric Youth Dance? Because I do, but we'll leave it at that. But we got the shows, Sands Showroom, Venetian Hotel. Look that up if you want to see Debbie and Joey sing Lost in Your Eyes and many other songs together. I'm going to let you go, but I have just one last question because it's always somebody who's in the industry now, music and radio. When you put out Anything Is Possible, it was a bit of a left turn, different subject matter, musically and aesthetically. It was different. You were growing up and you were showing it and you were singing it. And to put out a double album back in 91, like not by today's standards, it would just be an album, like there's no side A, side B. What did the label think when you brought that project to them? Energy up on one side and mood swings on the other.
Oh, I mean, so like, I think they thought that they were getting a pop artist who was like out to hit bullseyes. Like, tell me what I have to do to have a hit in every decade. But I was never a strategist. I was always an artist. Mm-hmm. And I think when you are a young girl and you are going through a transition, it's all over the place. It is all over the place. So the album musically was all over the place. But I couldn't rush myself through a transition that hadn't happened yet. So I think they were a little like, And then on Body, Mind, Soul, they were like, well, now we have to put you with this person and this person. And I always saw a career as like, artists used to get signed to a 7-8 record deal because there's gonna be a journey. There's gonna be, you're hitting bullseyes, now you're, Billy Joel's doing his Russia album, and like there's gonna be times where like, okay, maybe that didn't resonate as hugely with the public. However, it was, when you look at the artist's scope of their body of work, it's so important, every one of those. And so I always had like almost like an independent artist mindset who was on a major label. And so I think they were a little like, oh, she's a little more eccentric than we signed on for. And what I learned from that is, look, this album, my manager Heather Moore and I executive produced it. It's on my label, Stargirl, and here I am doing it myself again because I value opinions, but I'm not going to be bossed around and told how to make music 35 years in.
This is why I often make the parallel between you and Taylor Swift and what she did, and people didn't want to see her grow up, and she was a young songwriter just trying to get cred and taking ownership of her own music now and re-recording. I really think had social media been around then, Deb, you were her then.
I know, I think like that. And then I also think, thank God it wasn't around because life was hard enough to live.
Sure.
And I really admire and feel for young people living on social media now.
Yeah.
It's a full-time job and it's a whole lot of unsolicited opinions that people psychologically do not need. I'm good with it because I'm already a fully formed adult.
Yeah.
And I don't look to it for validation. I enjoy it. I celebrate it. I love connecting with people through it. I love sharing my daily life, and it seems to give people something positive. So I'm happy, but
Yeah.
but God, I think back to being 16, 17, and would I have wanted people commenting on my weight and my fashion and my every no.
It's why you see people like Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande talk about the rigors of touring and the mental health and what, but in a way, we love that we're able to connect with you so personally and one-on-one through social media, to have you be able to release your music right to your fans. It's fantastic all these years later, but you've been here all along. Reality TV, Broadway, Hallmark movies, just trying everything and still making music. So Debbie Gibson, you're awesome.
Thank you,
I
Heather.
just am always on board for whatever you do next. And the body remembers this August. Thank you so much for talking
to
me into SoJO 1049 today.
And hi to all my relatives out there listening.
Hello, all the Pistizzies.
Yes, the Pistizzies. Thank you, girl. That was so fantastic.
Great meeting you, and thanks again.
You too. Thank you. Mwah. Bye.